Hello, everyone, and welcome to another great episode of Royal Black and Elite. I hope your Friday is going well. I wanted to teach today on the first Black Nobel Peace Prize winner. Isn't that a tongue twister? Now, this year, Maria Corina Machado, she was from Venezuela. She is the one who won the Nobel. But in 1950, a black man who wrote the charter of the United Nations, and he was actually a founding member, was awarded. So I think you're going to find him very interesting. Hello, everyone. If you're new here, hello. Hello, Roilers and my members. I really appreciate you taking some time out today to spend with me. Now, during the early 1900s, it was a very racial time. So to see the trajectory of this man's career is so interesting. Now, he was born on August the 7th, 1904, in Detroit, Michigan. What's up, Detroit, Michigan? His parents were Fred Bunche, and his mom's name was Olive Agnes Johnson Bunche. They were mixed African American with Native and European. So I know that you see it here in his skin tone. Now, when Ralph was still young, his family faced a lot of hardships. His father was a barber and his mother was a musician, but they both struggled. They were both sick all the time, reportedly, and they also struggled with finances. Both parents passed when he was still just a little boy. Now, Ralph and his younger sister had to go and live with his grandmother. Her name was Lucy Taylor Johnson, and grew up in Los Angeles, California. What's up, LA? Now, she taught them values, hard work, and education, and pride in their Black heritage. And that as a you can see that when children are taught about their Black heritage, even if they're mixed, you can see the pride in them, and you can see it in Ralph Bunche because he truly spent his life on civil rights matters and also again with the United Nations. So he started, here in America, but then it grew to, I mean, my goodness, international level. Now, Ralph, even as a young kid, excelled in school and he graduated as the valedictorian from Jefferson High School. So kudos to him. And then he went on to the University of California in LA, UCLA, in 1927. You all, again, he graduated as the valedictorian. So Ralph definitely had some brains. Now, his brilliance earned him a scholarship to Harvard, and he earned his master's degree in political science in 1928, and later his PhD in 1934. He was the first African American to earn a PhD in political science from Harvard. Now, it's during this period in 1930 when he married Ethel Harris Bunche. Now, she was a former first grade teacher. Her first name was Ruth Ethel. And they had three children, Joan, Jane, and Ralph. Now, he became well respected. I mean, his career really went up pretty much immediately. He started teaching at Howard University in Washington, D.C. And there he helped to shape many generations of Black leaders. And he founded one of the country's first departments of political science in a historically Black college. So that, I mean, he just has such an interesting story. Now, during World War II, Bunch joined the Office of Strategic Services. Now, this was the forerunner to the CIA. Wowzers. And then after the war, he helped draft the charter of the United Nations, becoming one of the founding members of the United Nations. Now, to see what all of this has become, what the CIA is, and what the United Nations is, I mean, there's conspiracies for days, but to know that a Black man was there at the foundation of it is very interesting to know. Now, in 1947, the United Nations sent Bunch to the Middle East. He was there to mediate between the Arab nation and Israel because they were in conflict. Now, listen, the top negotiator was then all of a sudden unalive, just taken out. And so Ralph had to step in. It took months and it was intense, reportedly, but he successfully brokered the 1949 armistice agreements between Israel and its Arab neighbors. So that achievement earned him the Nobel Peace Prize in 1950. He was the first person of color in the world, the first black man to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. And, that's just a nod to his diplomacy skills, his intelligence, his ability to bring people who were fighting together to one table. And so kudos to him, hats off to him, no matter how you feel about whatever behind the scenes and what the CIA and all this stuff means today. During that time period, it meant a lot for that to Arab nations and Israel to stop being in conflict. It's sad though. That was in 1947, and they're still in conflict today. So, 1949 when they signed the deal, took 2 years to negotiate that deal. So, kudos to him. Now, Butt continued his work with the United Nations for 20 years, serving as the Undersecretary General and overseeing peacekeeping operations in places like the Congo, Cyprus, and the Suez Canal. He also supported the civil rights movement. He marched with Dr. Martin Luther King, and he advocated for racial equality in America. So not only was he on the world stage looking for peace and fighting for peace, but he also did it here in America. I mean, statesmen for real. When you look at what a statesman is, that was Ralph Bunche. Now, for his lifetime of service, he received dozens of awards. He received the Presidential Medal of Freedom Award from President John F. Kennedy in 1963. So he definitely had a full life, very well respected man. Mr. Bunche passed away on December the 9th in 1971. He was only 67 years old, which some would consider very young, especially with us who's in our 60s. He died from complications of heart disease, kidney, and diabetes. In fact, they said he had struggled with that for some time and, in fact, had had a heart attack. He had retired in June from the United Nations in that same year. I was reading a report, and it was saying that most people pass away a couple of years after retirement. And I think, for some, it may be 65, some may be 67. And they all pass away from basically these same things: heart disease, kidney disease, and diabetes. So, and stress, has a lot to do with this. So, y'all go down and log on and to see the dementia one that I did video. That's a really great video. It talks about how these diseases causes blacks now to have dementia. So, even though he had a great career, his health was struggling. I'm sure he was under stress constantly trying to bring people who are divided together. He had fallen in his home, and that's how he ended up in the hospital. And these complications kept him there. So he passed away, but he's truly, truly left a legacy. So I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. As you know, it is for educational and entertainment purposes only, and the Fair Act use is in effect. You all click on down below and keep on learning. I want to thank you all for joining me. I know you have things to do, and so to stop by and learn a little bit more about the Royal Black and Elite history really means a lot. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Be sure to turn on your notifications and check out Hunter's Point tonight. It comes on at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Y'all, thanks for supporting. Now catch up also on some of the other episodes. So I greatly appreciate you, and I'll see you on another great episode. Have a great day.